Have you ever wanted to play Minecraft with ray-traced shaders enabled at a respectable frame rate? Well, using this mod titled Photonics, you might just be able to do that. According to the mod page, Photonics is an extension for the Iris mod that introduces ray tracing, and it claims to do so with some pretty impressive performance. In the second sentence, it literally says it should be able to run 2 to 3 times faster than similar projects, which sounds insane. And obviously, I was very intrigued by this. I've played with several shaders that introduce ray tracing, and they generally look incredible, but of course are quite difficult to run. So obviously, I had to give Photonics a try, while keeping expectations in check as it is listed as an early beta. So I loaded up Minecraft with Fabric, installed the prerequisite mods, which are Sodium and Iris, along with the shader Photonics is built on, which is very specifically BSL version 8.2.09 as of now, installed Photonics of course, then booted up the game. And the first thing I noticed was actually how different 2D blocks look with this mod installed. Don't get me wrong, the performance is great, and we'll get to that in a second, but every single block in Minecraft that's normally flat was suddenly very three-dimensional. And I'm not exaggerating when I say it's every block. Every single block is 3D. Grass, cobwebs, furnaces, doors, vines, leaves, rails, bookshelves, flowers. If you can name a 2D block, it's 3D now. And I can immediately tell that this is a feature that a lot of people are either gonna really like or really dislike, because it really does drastically alter how Minecraft looks, like even disregarding the shader portion of it. And there's some positives and some negatives with this feature. Starting with the bad news, I noticed a lot of blocks that, are normally animated just aren't anymore. For example, seaweed. But there are still some blocks that are in fact animated, such as skulk sensors. And in the end of the day, again, the mod is listed as an early beta, so I don't consider this to be a big deal, but I still thought I'd let you know. But on the more positive side of things, there's a lot of people that go out of their way for a feature like this. I mean, there's plenty of 3D resource packs out there, and theoretically, if given proper compatibility, this mod could work very well with something like Chisels and Bits. The mod states that the ray tracing engine is based on voxels, and that it supports any type of 16 by 16 by 16 block models, so I do believe a mod that allows you to precisely chisel away at blocks would run very well with this. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this would be an awesome feature. And the mod page already mentions that you can use custom models using a program like Magic of Voxels, although that pretty immediately starts to become more complicated. But anyway, moving on to the actual performance and shader visuals, I'll start by saying that yes, this actually runs very well in my testing. Using the default settings, which includes 15 render distance and recording at 4K, I'm sitting at well over 100 FPS in a pretty standard forest. Pretty great results so far, but I still wanted to see how the performance fared against heavier hitting biomes such as, a jungle or a mangrove swamp. So off to the jungle I went, and I still managed more or less the same frame rate, maybe slightly lower by like a couple frames. And the mangrove swamp delivered similar results. Again, slightly lower performance, but nothing dramatic. And remember, I'm recording this at 4K. If I scale down to 1440p, I immediately get nearly 240 frames. And let's compare this to a different ray trace shader. Here we have the beautiful NostalgiaVX, and within the mangrove swamp, this has me sitting all the way down at, give or take, 40 frames. And just based off of this comparison, the 2 to 3 times performance listed in the mod description is looking pretty reasonable. Now, to be fair, I'm recording on a 4090, which is obviously extremely overkill. So I figured I should test it on something, a little less powerful. Luckily, I've got a laptop featuring a 3070. And by the way, a 3070 within a laptop is not nearly as powerful as an actual 3070. It's still a good graphics card, but there's a difference here. And recording at 1440p, I still manage like 70 frame rate with the Photonics mod. And once again, most players aren't going to be playing at this resolution. 1080p is by far the most common, and you will see far better frames when playing at that resolution. I do recognize that this is still a pretty good graphics card though, so if any of you are interested in trying this mod, definitely let me know in the comments how it runs for you and what graphics card you're using and what resolution you're running it at. And to now focusing on the actual ray traced visuals themselves, it does look really nice. As I mentioned before, it's built off of BSL, which is already a pretty great shader, and introduces features like dynamic shadow casting, global illumination, and path traced block lights. And Photonics looks especially amazing in areas with high contrast, for example, shaded areas outside or lava inside of caves. And you can customize the visuals to some degree, the same way you would customize BSL, as you still have access to its settings. So for example, if you want to enable depth of field, you can do so. In other ways, however, the mod is somewhat limited. In particular, you really can't use any resource packs with this. If you tried to, nothing's really gonna change, although I will say I tried the Alacrity resource pack and some of the foliage was actually changing shape and sometimes for the better, specifically the flowers, I'd say. I'm not entirely sure why this happens specifically for foliage, but I thought it was worth mentioning. If you'd like to really maximize Photonics visuals, you can use it with other mods like Terralith that change the world generation without actually adding any new blocks to the game, and it's also got compatibility with Distant Horizons, which is always a major plus. Overall, I find this mod to be pretty awesome and would love to hear what you guys think about it. Remember though, it is an early beta, so don't expect everything to be perfect with the mod. And again, if you're gonna give it a try, let me know how it goes for for you. I'm curious how it runs on other systems. And if you would like to check it out, it'll be linked in the description below. And anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching.